Good morning and welcome to this week's video. You join me here for the Fallow Deer Rut. It's a very early start. Managed to get here, I suppose, about 3/4 of an hour, half an hour before dawn, and compared to last year, many more does. And the noise, I just hope get over the sort of cacophony of the sound.
Each autumn, this remarkable drama unfolds. As golden leaves and ferns carpet the ground, the air pulses with the energy of competing bucks, each striving for dominance and the right to mate. This soundscape for the Fallow Rut is unmistakable. The bucks fill the crisp morning and evening air with deep, guttural groans. A throaty, almost belching sound that echoes through the trees. It's an uncanny noise, sending shivers down the spines of rivals and signalling their strength to any nearby does. The does, meanwhile, are more reserved. Their voices are softer, high-pitched bleats, almost plaintive calls, exchanged as they move round the stand, keeping track of their companions and the commotion caused by the males.
So, it's just start to ease off now, but it's really quite something. Initially, relatively little action as such, and then, well, all of a sudden, just really started to kick off.
I initially struggled to film the many fights that were taking place, reacting to the noise of clashing antlers rather than anticipating the start of the fight. I decided to change my approach, singling out a likely candidate and looking for signs of an impending clash. This fine specimen initially avoided the aggressive challenge of another buck. But as he slowly walked back towards the aggressor, I sensed his resolve to compete had strengthened. With the fights taking place right across the stand, it was difficult to choose which one to film. This action continuing for almost half an hour. On occasion, I noted that fighting bucks seemed to move from one opponent straight to another. This pair, taking their quarrel off to the dense ferns and woodland beyond. With several fights occurring simultaneously, you sort of recognise that this is possibly the peak, a pivotal moment establishing the hierarchy among the rival bucks. This very mature buck only needs to threaten a clash. His rival avoiding what could be a bruising and potentially damaging encounter, both avoiding injury.
I think that's died down quite a bit now. There's still some of the real mature ones out on the stand, but a lot of the does have sort of melted away, and I can hear a couple of the bucks have moved back still. I've been to my left and right, so I'm sort of committed here for the day, so I'm going to have a little look to see if I can catch a little bit of the reds, although probably it's past the peak with them. It'd be quite nice if I can just get a little bit more action there, and let's see what comes. Well, that was a bit of a session and a half, I think, with those fallow deer. I think the highlight has to be the three clashing at once for a few seconds. That was amazing. So I've managed to walk around for for about an hour or so, hour and a half, to the sort of normal places that, well, at least last week we found them. I came last week with Denise. Didn't put out a video because primarily I was after her trying to get some pictures. I don't like to get too close, so therefore we needed to use her camera on my lens, which negated the fact that I couldn't do any video. But it was quite nice for me, really, a bit of relaxing, just guiding her around. But she managed to get some, well, she was really pleased, managed to get some really lovely pictures. So I hope maybe to trace them. Like I say, they may be resting up somewhere, maybe still with their sort of hinds. But I think the next sort of couple of hours will make the decision for me whether I stay until this evening or not. So it's a case of play it by ear. But that number of fights this morning, I don't think I've had that many fights in one session, so pretty amazing. So it's anything I get from now on will be a bonus.
This singular, handsome stag seemed to be seeking the solitude in the middle of the heath. A well-deserved rest, I suspect. Finally, at a clearing that Denise and myself visited last week, several stags were sulking in the trees and the periphery of this dominant stag's harem. Still required to guard those still to come into estrus. Along with his powerful roar. The routine of checking the hinds for scent signals continues.
So I'm really pleased we managed to get those red deer. I've returned back to the fallow for the last, couple of hours. It's about 4 o'clock now, so I thought settled down. Uncertain whether I'm going to get out to capture anything next week, half term the following week, so we've booked a week away. So what with packing and the like, I'm uncertain whether I get down next week. So thought I'd get as much footage as I can, take advantage of what was quite an active morning. So I don't think it's going to be as active this evening, but they're bellowing already. Whether they've been bellowing all day I don't know, but they're just starting to gather. So let's see if we can get some a little bit more footage in the evening.
I noticed that most of the bucks were still resting in preparation for what was most likely to be a very active night ahead. But my attention was drawn to this very active male. For him to be still producing the deep guttural groans, there must be a receptive doe. Following her closely, sniffing, licking, making several failed attempts to mate. Would she finally allow the buck to mount her? A brief union, a long, weary groan. Maybe, finally, he would take a rest before the activity, which would most certainly last throughout the night ahead.
Well, that's it. Off home. Sunset just sort of 15-20 minutes ago. So I want to try and get back to the car before it's dark. I'm feeling a bit tired now, sort of 12-13 hours out, although probably not as tired as the fallow deer. Can't imagine them going through the night again, probably fighting just as much as they were this morning. Must be really exhausting for them. They certainly put a lot of effort in. I think for me the fallow deer rut is audibly you know, just an amazing event. I can't imagine, you know, their throats must be really, really sore after all of that. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a big thumbs up, like and subscribe. And as always, it'd be great for you to join me in the next one.